Have you ever dealt with a recruiter that's promised you the earth but delivered lemons? Perhaps they talked a good game but they didn't have the skills to match. Well, in a profession that can be often sales rather than substance, it can sometimes be difficult to separate those that talk the talk from those who actually walk the walk. So in this video, I thought I'd use my inside knowledge of the industry to give people a guide on what they need to look out for when selecting a recruitment partner if they want to avoid the pitfalls of sales-led recruiters and instead experience the benefits that a truly consultative recruitment partner can deliver. Hi, it's Emilie Gregson here at Signature Career Management, where our passion is placing leading FMCG talent to transform the commercial performance of teams and organisations across the world. So if you're looking to boost your commercial performance of your business, be sure to hit subscribe and click the link in the description below to follow our LinkedIn company page for up-to-date market insights, career advice, recruitment tips and general all-round good content. But without further ado, let's get started. When dealing with an industry that was recently voted as having the 8th least trusted professionals, it can be tempting to adopt a damage limitation mindset when choosing a recruitment agency by plumping for the cheapest one. But in a recruitment landscape that is at its most challenging in a generation, this can be a very dangerous game to play. So to help people sidestep the pitfalls of adopting a low quality approach in a high expectation marketplace or avoid shelling out to recruiters who overpromise and underdeliver, I thought I'd run through the key elements of a good recruiter that businesses need to look out for if they want to suitably arm themselves in the current war for talent. I'll also be providing some top tips on how you can quickly spot the difference between the quality-driven consultants who will help you every step of the way, as well as the money-driven chancers who are looking for you to help them hit their bonus. Then if you stick around until the end, I'll give you a very easy tip that is a huge giveaway to enable you to flush out disingenuous recruiters in a matter of seconds. So let's get on with it. The type of recruiters you want to avoid when choosing a partner to work with are the ones that feed off low-hanging fruit. They guarantee results at the lowest prices, not because they found an efficiency edge in talent attraction, but because their business model relies on them getting the first crack of the whip. This is because contacting the greatest number of active candidates as quickly as possible, then firing them over to see if any of them stick, is a very cost-effective way of getting a quick win. The problem with this approach is not only that it is largely ineffective at tapping into the high-quality talent pools that are becoming increasingly passive, but also the slapdash approach can end up decimating your employer brand and hindering future recruitment plans. This is low price, but even lower value recruitment, and is the polar opposite of what you should be looking to achieve, particularly in the current landscape. The way to spot this type of recruiter, though, is to see how much detail they're interested in. Detail is the enemy of the bottom-feeding recruiter because it takes time, first of all, to collate it, but then even more time to relate to candidates. As we know, time is money. So if your business model is built on a quick turnaround of low-hanging fruit, detail is a massive hindrance. Gauge how much detail your prospective recruitment partner uses by running a quick test on them. Tell them you have a job description and that you can send it over to them and ask if they have enough to get cracking. Anyone who says yes, you can immediately disregard. Don't just stop there though. If you want a quality recruitment partner, you don't just want one who'll take detail from you, you'll want one who'll push you for more so that they're armed with all the right information to get the most suitable candidates around. A 15-minute chat is not enough to take a brief on a job role if a recruiter wants to really understand the challenges of the job, the scope of the opportunity, the culture of the team, the nuances of how the role interacts with different functions within the business, and the complexities of how the wider team interact. If the recruiter doesn't know this, how are they going to proficiently pitch your role to the best candidates out there? Because they will certainly want to know this information if they're going to consider it against all of the opportunities that they're being bombarded with. After all, wouldn't you? The reason why specialism is so important follows a similar line to detail. In the current recruitment landscape where candidates are in high demand, it's imperative that recruiters who are looking to attract interest in your opportunity have credibility and gravitas with top-tier talent. If candidates believe for 1 second they are getting sold to by a cocky recruiter, they'll give them the cold shoulder. Whereas if the recruiter has great insight into the industry they operate in and a good working knowledge of how their role slots into the bigger picture, candidates will start to open up to them as the recruiter can add value in return. Good industry-specific recruiters can offer genuine insight and advice to candidates, which can be beneficial to their career advancement, and so will often get far more time in front of top talent to give your job opportunities a chance to be heard. It doesn't stop there though. Very specific specialisms enable recruiters to build an active network of candidates that they can call upon. By active, I don't mean a list of email addresses and phone numbers, because let's face it, with LinkedIn recruiter licenses, pretty much anyone can be contacted. I mean candidates that are regularly updated with, who realise the benefit that having industry specialist recruiters on side can do for their career, and who are happy to pick up the phone when the call comes through, or alternatively refer someone to them that may be suitable. To spot the good ones, check out your recruiter in advance. If their website reels off numerous industries and dozens of professions that they have expertise in, yet a quick search reveals less recruiters than their supposed specialisms, then something doesn't stack up. Going one step further, think of the different nuances to each profession within an industry, and then the regional subtleties that underpin the talent pools within these subcategories. In my business, the whole team of consultants deal with solely sales and marketing appointments within the FMCG industry, and there's still stuff we're learning and sharing with each other on a daily basis as the market evolves. One person couldn't do this by themselves. They certainly couldn't do it for the whole FMCG industry, and the idea that they could do it with any credibility for multiple industries is nonsense, and anyone trying to claim this is simply trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Candidates don't like blaggers. They actively try to avoid them. So if you want access to the best candidates, give them a wide berth and find yourself a specialist. Obviously, this video is all about selecting a recruitment partner, so there may have been a clue that there was going to be a section that focused on exclusivity. But I thought I'd go into a bit more detail about why it's important and how you can spot a recruiter who is using this method of work to provide you with a better service, and spot one who is simply using it for their own benefit to have a shot at filling your role first. Now, from a pure efficiency point of view, it's critical that wherever possible, your default method of recruiting is with one recruiter exclusively. Imagine that a recruiter who works exclusively has roughly twice the fill rate, so gets paid twice as often as they do when they are pitched against other recruiters. All recruiters have to cut their cloth accordingly, so those working against other recruiters have to put in half the resources, otherwise it doesn't take too many processes before they go bump. But two recruiters doing half a job is the same as doing a full job, you might say. That theory only works if recruiters are working together. But trust me, they're very much working against each other, not together. What they'll actually be doing is inadvertently duplicating huge swathes of work as they all go after the low-hanging fruit. This does nothing for the candidate experience, nothing for accessing the passive candidate talent pool, and nothing for your employer brand as prospective employees find themselves right at the centre of a bun fight. Equally important though, this renders it impossible to build a trusting partnership that can be built upon to develop a cohesive recruitment strategy moving forward. And instead you're left with a fragmented and transactional approach that jumps from one campaign to another and one recruiter to another. Recognising the difference between a recruiter who appreciates the advantages an exclusive campaign delivers for its clients and one who is trying to give themselves an advantage is simple once you accept that virtually all recruiters will try and pitch this method of working first. Those that try to sell exclusivity for their own benefit will back down if you're insistent that you want to work alongside other agencies, whereas those who believe in the benefits that this approach brings will be happy to walk away. You don't have to follow through with it, but tell your prospective recruitment partners that you've decided to adopt the contingent approach, and those that are prepared to walk away should be the ones you invite back for another discussion. With the current shortfall of top candidates and a surplus of job openings, some may attribute the candidate-focused marketplace to being a recent phenomenon, but be under no illusions. The candidate-focused job space has been a long time in the making and will be around a lot longer than any readjustments in labour supply. Since the dawn of the information age, candidates have been increasingly empowered to find, research and apply for jobs, which has wrestled the power well and truly away from employers who need to adjust their approach if they want to compete in the changing job landscape. With good candidates now sitting at the top of the pile, recruiters who have maintained a candidate focus for longer than the recent shortfall will have a huge advantage over other recruiters who, up until recently, viewed them as little more than a commodity that they could trade. The reason being is that candidates talk, reputations precede, and memories are long when it comes to the poor treatment of candidates. And just because some firms decide they now want to raise their games, it doesn't mean that they will be able to access the premium candidate talent pools. The key to finding a recruitment partner that has always maintained a strong candidate focus is not to look at their actions now. After all, everyone and their dog knows how big the current demand is for top-tier talent and how elevating service levels might support access to them. But it is to look at their past record of performance, because those that have always placed a strong emphasis on the needs of candidates won't be the ones who come across as fickle and disingenuous when they approach them now. Check LinkedIn individual profiles of the consultants in the recruitment business you're considering for endorsements and recommendations. A good spread of quality referrals will indicate a culture of candidate-focused recruitment. Speak to the existing people in your teams and ask them if they have had past experience with good recruiters. And future-proof your recruitment strategy by asking for feedback on your recruitment partners from candidates that have been in your recruitment processes, whether or not they've been successful. Because remember, a candidate focus does not begin and end with successful applicants. It requires a market-wide emphasis. Now, the interpretation of how beneficial the speed of a process is one of the biggest giveaways when deciphering between a good recruitment partner and ones, like mentioned previously in this video, who are looking for the maximum possible return for the least amount of effort. Because when it comes to recruitment, the mantra of less haste, more speed should definitely be front of mind when it comes to planning out your strategy. It can be tempting when the pressure is on to get numerous agencies working on your role in the belief that it will yield quicker results. But when an agency claims they can have CVs over to you within a couple of days, you've got to question the level of the approach they've taken, given how long it should take to map a market and pitch your role to suitable candidates. Put it this way, I may message a really good candidate for a role, I may get lucky and they come back to me straight away. I then have to schedule some time to speak with them in more depth about the role, and then schedule some time to interview them to assess their suitability. After that, I need to write a summary to draw out the information that's relevant to the role and repeat over and over again until I've got a strong shortlist. Then I submit them all at the same time so that they can be benchmarked against each other to prevent any bias creeping in. If someone is saying that they can do that in a couple of days, they're lying. They're fudging things to get CVs over to you, often only trying to contact the candidates if you express an interest in their profile. That's one of the reasons that contingency recruitment is a GDPR nightmare. If you think that utilising several agencies enables them to work together to compile a shortlist, you're probably lying to yourself. They're just firing messages and CVs all over the place and seeing what sticks. There's a whole section of the recruitment landscape who measure the success of their teams on how quickly they can turn around a job. And I've heard many a time that a 48-hour turnaround is the sweet spot for them. But this approach focuses solely on the active talent pool who are actively looking for a new job and responding to all of the approaches that they're getting. If your answer doesn't lie in the active talent pool, which is more often that it doesn't, it results in a lot of activity in the first couple of days of a search, then very little after that. In a nutshell, if an agency you approach speaks to you about the speed at which they can get candidates over to you like it's a badge of honour, give them a wide berth, because it may appear like a lot is being achieved in a short space of time, but the chances are it will take you a lot longer to fill your vacancies. So there it is. Without trying to sound too melodramatic, we're in the midst of a war for talent, and businesses need to ensure they pick the right people to join them in the battle if they want to survive one of the worst talent shortages in recent times. But even when pandemics, the Great Resignation and remote working are all a distant memory and the job landscape starts to return to normality, it will still pay dividends to have a good recruitment partner you can fall back on when you need support in bringing talent into your business. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, recruiters aren't particularly trusted people, so I don't doubt it's difficult to separate the wheat from the chaff, with salespeople constantly trying to pull the wool over your eyes. But like in many other industries, the same expressions ring true. You get what you pay for. And if something sounds too good to be true, it generally is. So if you can sidestep the blaggers and find the right people to invest your time and money into, you can gain a significant advantage in talent attraction. Use the tactics I've outlined in this video and decipher between those that want to add genuine value to your recruitment process and those that are simply trying to line their own pockets. Then pick a quality-driven consultancy to partner with you in the areas that you're trying to recruit and build on that partnership so that you can start to develop a cohesive talent strategy that delivers for your business. And before I go, I mentioned at the start of this video a quick and easy tip to flush out bad recruiters, and that is website stats. It's well known in recruitment that 85.3% of statistics are made up, including that one. And what you often find on recruiter websites are grand claims about fill rates, retention rates, client savings, and all manner of reassuring stats that are completely fictional. One thing I find incredible about these stats is that they never change. They make the same claims about variable statistics day after day, month after month, and year after year, until they get another website, then magic up another set of impressive performance stats. So, if you're doing some research on a recruitment partner and you find a load of unsubstantiated statistics, be on your guard. So there's my list of 5 things you need to look out for when selecting a recruitment partner, and my quick and easy tip for exposing the less than genuine ones. As ever, it'd be great to know what you think. Hit subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments below, make sure you follow our LinkedIn company page, and be sure to look out for our next video where we'll be providing more insight to businesses looking to gain an advantage in talent attraction.